SDGR series. It's black. I try to keep everything black. I don't really know how to play bass, but it's there in case I need to lay something simple down. Not too much different than guitar, really. That's an S-Series guitar. My first two guitars were bought from Rosewood Music in Findlay, Ohio. This was my second one, the S540 Custom Limited. I just love the slim designs. The necks are extremely low and smooth and thin. I like the look of them, and they play awesome. So that's my second one. My first one I no longer have. And I got that one probably about 2 years ago. Les Paul, Epiphone bass. I know that's horrible, but I don't justify a Les Paul brand just for a quick sound. If you can differentiate it, great. I just don't see the point, especially since I hardly ever played a Les Paul type guitar anyway. So those are my three electric guitars, one bass, and Ibanez acoustic. It's an electric acoustic, plugged directly in. Sometimes miking in here is pretty difficult. I'm under the idea that if you're going to record through the air without cleaning it up as much as possible by deadening the sound, I think you should just be either in a high-end studio or keep it as dead as possible and run it through effects for any environmental factors. So I tend to shy away, if at all possible, of using or miking the acoustic, but I do sometimes. Next, I'll just go to my rack. Basically, I have an ART power conditioner. I love it. I used to have a Furman. Actually, I still have a Furman down the bottom rack. I decided to use two cases on top of each other to make one large case because it would allow me to take the top off and take a portable rig and leave. And then I could use the bottom half, which has mainly studio gear, and keep it here, plugged in. So the top part is essentially portable, the bottom part is essentially studio, but I use them all for both. Otherwise, I would use this system, the server rack, house everything in there, which I contemplate once in a while. Basically has all my for sale equipment I never use. Anybody wants to buy it, feel free, let me know. Anyway, back to the rack. So we have the ART power conditioner. I love it. It has a light in back. Right there. So when you're in the back of the rack, you can you have a flashlight instantly available. And it's an awesome feature. Love it. Next is a wireless, Audio-Technica wireless guitar input. Hardly ever use it because I'm in the studio. Prefer a cord connection if at all possible, but it's there in case I ever need one. Thirdly would be GCX guitar audio switcher made by Voodoo Labs. This one's an 8-channel switcher. Basically allows me to, say, have my preamp and my effects switched out at different times based on whatever program I put into the foot pedal. So basically it'll cut off any connections and add any connections I want based on a preset configuration. So you can basically change everything on the fly based on 8 channels worth of stereo inputs. It's an essential feature if you have more than one amp. I typically just use it with my one amp. I could essentially take my ADA MP2 and switch off or combine with the Mesa Boogie Studio Pre, but I pretty much decide on one amp and that's what I go with. So I mainly use it to switch out the effects, which consist of GTR 4000. This is I think the version of the DSP 4000 with different presets. Back at the time, they were running about $3,500 for this model, and I think maybe $4,000 for the DSP 4000. I didn't see the point. I mean, if you want to buy extra modules, you can, but this one was geared toward guitar. Excellent quality. I mean, it's about all you'd ever need in an effects unit. They have newer models out. I'm pretty happy with this one. The programming on it is a total bear. There is a PC interface for it, but I've never really used it. I have my presets mainly in already, so I haven't utilized that. So that's basically used for all main effects. It has a low quality set where you can switch between effects without any kind of delays or dropouts. It doesn't use as much processing power. So I would typically use that for a chorus or any special effects because this thing can do some wild sounds. So that's mainly my main special effects unit. Below it is a Yamaha Pro R3 reverb unit. I would say it's mediocre, but it sounds great on vocals. It's kind of been obsoleted by the reverbs contained within the MR816X preamp. It's really, really awesome reverbs in there, built in. But I have it for live situations on clean sound, or playing around in the studio. Thirdly, I always wanted a TC Electronics M2000. Anticipated it for years. Finally got it a few years ago. I was kind of underwhelmed by the quality. Seems very, very sensitive to inputs. While some of the presets sound great, or the unit itself sounds great, but I would say it's inferior to the Eventide. And since the Eventide pretty much takes care of everything, it doesn't really get much use. So from there we have the Mesa Boogie Studio Pre. I went originally with an MP2. I had it for probably 10-15 years. Decided I want to go with a more natural sound, a real amp, so to speak. Some will argue that the MP2 is not a real amp since it's only digitally controlled, it's not a digital sound. But I just like to be able to turn my volume knob down or up and hear a change in the tone. And Mesa Boogie, of course, can accomplish this very well. I went with the triple rectifier for a while. Did not play well with most of my effects. Leveling was just a total nightmare. So I sold, fortunately, the triple rectifier for a lot of what I had paid for it and got most of my